Welcome back to the Valley Hoops Insider podcast, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website. So glad to be with you on this Friday. Man, we're closing in on the very end of the college basketball season. Three more games for Ohio Valley and Missouri Valley Conference teams. Big things still going on in all of those standings, and it's just a fun time to be a basketball fan. And one of my favorite humans in the basketball world is a guy named Paul Ellis. We've broadcast games together. We've just sat and watched games together. He's a big college basketball guy and a former coach. I'm going to have him tell you all about himself in just a minute. But what we're going to be talking about today is a basketball tournament that he is hosting this weekend for a uniquely important cause. It's to battle the Scleroderma disease that affects so many different people in our country. And you say, what's that? We're going to tell you all about that in a minute because I can't describe it very well either. But we bring our good friend Paul Ellis into the conversation this afternoon. Paul, you and I have had so many good times together, high school games, college games, Arch Madness. I just so enjoy you and your approach to life. But we have this, you're hosting this tournament this weekend in St. Louis. And I want you to tell people about Scleroderma. It's a disease that's affected your family personally. And this weekend, you're raising some money for research and those kinds of things. Thanks for joining us. First, tell us about how Scleroderma affected and impacted your family.
Well, thanks for having me on, Harry. It's always fun to talk with you were so kind, but we have shared a lot together over the years and our broadcast. And yeah, this weekend is one that it's very meaningful for our family. Being a basketball guy, we felt like we lost our daughter to the disease Scleroderma back in 2010, and we thought, well, what a better way to not only honor her and keep her memory alive, but to also raise money for this horrible disease, which attacks so many people. It's so unheard of. There's so many tournaments for raising money for cancer, which is in fact tonight at the high school where we're having our tournament, Parkway South Coaches versus Cancer Night, which is a phenomenal deal, and people are involved. But not many people know about the disease Scleroderma. It's an autoimmune disease that connective tissue. It can scar people on the outside in terms of your body overproduces collagen, and so people can get tightness of skin. But the the type that my daughter had, where it went in and attacked her organs, systemic scleroderma, and unfortunately she passed away at the age of 19 back in 2010. She was a freshman at William Woods University when she passed away, and so being able to do this is wonderful for my wife and I, but for my sons as well, where they can keep their sister's memory alive. People can come up. We get to visit with so many former friends, coaches, just people that, not former friends and former coaches and things like that come out and support the cause.
Paul, the basketball tournament itself, it's at Parkway South High School, which is Baldwin-ish, I think. I'm so bad at knowing where all the different municipalities are here in the Lou, but it's at Parkway South High School. You've had a long-standing relationship with the folks there at Parkway South. I love that they help you to do that. Give us some of the details. When can people go? Let me go back. Basketball tournament, ages, it's kind of all different ages. Tell us what's happening in the basketball tournament itself.
It's kind of really transformed into more of just a feeder deal, Harry. And the reason I say feeder teams, like the high school, the junior teams from the high schools, and what's happened, like people like Marquette, Parkway West, Parkway North, Ladue, they all bring multiple teams into this tournament to come compete. And these are teams that are, again, feeder teams. It's really cool because the relationships we built with these people, and year in and year out, they keep bringing their teams to support our cause. So it's basically 4th through 8th grade. And I think we have all boys teams this year, and we'll play all the games at Parkway South High School. We've split the main gym into 2 courts. Unfortunately, we had to do that this year because we weren't able to get the middle school. And then we use our gym back in Gym C, which is a really nice court as well. So games will be going on. We start tonight. We can't get in there till late tonight because we've got the high schools has Coaches versus Cancer and senior night up at Parkway South. But I think we tip off around 8 o'clock tonight, and then we start early tomorrow morning, about 8:30, and we'll go till 10 o'clock tomorrow night, actually both Saturday and Sunday. So It's a great opportunity. People come out, watch some good basketball, but to contribute, support, every penny that's brought in, a portion of that will go to the Scleroderma Foundation. Then we set up some different areas too where people can just donate directly to the Scleroderma Foundation.
So people pay to get in. I've done this.
Right.
I pay to get in.
Right.
You can make donations. You can buy stuff. There's food and whatnot. There is good hooping to watch
Yeah.
for those 4th or 8th graders. So it's entertaining. It's fun. It's for a great cause. And you were telling me before we came on, this is one of, if not the largest fundraising event in the state of Missouri.
Yes.
To fight the scleroderma disease. And so I just commend you. And I love, here's what we do. We leverage the relationships we have, right? Like you, I want to go back a little bit, but you and I have a long history in basketball in the area, but you've been an official, a coach, an announcer, and so forth. And so, people all across St. Louis and all the different stratospheres of basketball, youth, high school, college, et cetera. And so those people, because you're a cool guy, they want to come and be a part.
Harry, we talked, you and I, you came on the air, you're talking about relationships and the relationship you and I have. I think one of the things that I miss about coaching was those relationships. And I think that's what this great game does for us. It brings so many people together. I'm very fortunate. We're very fortunate to have met so many wonderful people. And a guy like Jim Bear, who wrote for the Suburban Journals for years, he sent me a message. Yeah, I'll be out on Sunday. Coaches and former players and people I went to high school are sending in donations. And so that to me, that's really special because this disease is just so rare. Not many people have heard of it. It might be the first time the first time people have heard about it. And so you just don't see, there's just not a lot of publicity on it. Bob Saget, the comedian, he was a strong fundraiser. In fact, he got Robin Williams involved, and he sent me a message after my daughter died. I didn't know the man from Adam through Facebook, sending his condolences on Lindsay's death. I'll never forget that.
I'm wearing my for Lindsay wristband. I think it's from her sorority in college. Yeah. And I think about things like that, Paul. I'll be talking to people. I'm an old guy. I'm not supposed to be wearing all these wristbands, but people will say, "Well, what's that one? Or what's this one?" Right? And I get to tell them. And I think people having an opportunity to give a couple of bucks, knowing that other people are going through it. There are the less intensive, less intrusive forms of scleroderma that just cause people concern, and there are treatments that help with some of those kinds of things.
Yes.
But this is once they get it, the systemic version, it's largely fatal. And you and I were talking before we came on the air. 3 in 100,000 people get this, and it's almost exclusively women, and it's almost exclusively 30 to 50-year-olds. And your daughter got it in her teens. So rare, so shocking. And so I think what's great about what you're doing is you're out in front of it. What I mean is a lot of people will get hit with this later in life. If you can get the knowledge out there, people, and maybe start getting treatment sooner. You were telling me before we came on, there were some treatments your daughter did that helped her some, but she was probably too far gone for it to really help. And so people being knowledgeable can actually save lives.
And it's come a long way, Harry. The research is getting better. They're coming up with, especially for those who do not have it systemically, that it makes their life much more livable. They're able to do more things with their hands, and I think because it's a tightening, and so a lot of times everything tightens up, and their skin tightens, and it makes it very, very tough to do everyday functions. And so by bringing awareness, and for us, it means a lot because keeping Lindsay's memory alive, and to combine the love for basketball, which she had as well. Not only that,
of course she did.
She did.
She could not have.
That poor kid had no chance. She had no chance. And another thing this year too, which is special, our youngest son, PJ, is coaching one of the teams. He's got the Parkway South 5th graders this year, and so he's got a team playing in the tournament. And we were visiting earlier in the week, and he's so excited to be able to coach. He played in it as a player, and now he's getting a chance to do it as a coach.
If you're just coming on to our little podcast, Paul Ellis is that other man there, a good friend of mine, of coach, player, announcer, referee. You refereed, right?
Yeah, refereed in the SLAC conference, Division III. Ron Zetcher was my supervisor. Yeah, I did that, and that was I was doing that right before Lindsay died, and
Mm.
unfortunately, I had to. That was a tough period there where we were being pulled in so many different directions that I had to give that up. But I've always said this, Harry. I've talked about a referee should have to be a coach, and a coach should have to be a referee, and I
Yeah,
think
no
everybody would get
doubt.
along just splendidly.
I used to coach middle schoolers, in one of those feeder programs like you're talking about, and I went to a ref at halftime of a game. My kids were getting run over by these big bullies from probably Parkway. But anyway, no, I have no idea where
Probably.
they were from. And I walked over to the referee and I said, "Hey, I watch on TV and they say, hey, that so and so coach is working the referee." And I said, "My kids are getting beat up out there. How would I work you?" And he says, "Coach, you're doing just fine." And so I love when there can be good interplay between coaches and refs and back and forth. And I got to know a bunch of the, in what I do in announcing and writing about games, I get to know some of the refs. But then knowing some of the coaches, you get to know some of the referees as well. And you've introduced me to a bunch of them. And honestly, most referees I meet are guys and gals that are fans of the sport, and they
Yes.
want it to go well, and they want it to just flow the way it should. And we get all huffy and mad at them. And
Tough game. Tough
I
game to referee. It really is. I mean, I think it's the toughest because there's just so much movement and there's a big shortage. I mean, that we could do a whole nother podcast on that of the shortage of officials. And I think that, boy, that scares me a little bit for the future. We've got to get some younger people out there and get them out there where they can, and they've got to start in things like our tournament this weekend. And big thanks to Pat Burns and I want to, who's the sign, he's the signer of the St. Louis Basketball Officials Association. He's taken the job of assigning our officials this week. And uh, real quick, Harry, I want to throw out Mike Shanfeld at Parkway South High School. My wife Melissa and I ran this tournament exclusively for the first. This is year 14, so the first 12 years. Mike came to me last year and said, "Paul, look, we're happy to take it the day to day over for you because it was a lot. It
mm,
was a lot." And he offered it, and I said, "Mike, that would be amazing." And so now Melissa and I just get to show up and visit with people that come in, talk to people about the disease without worrying about, did our concession workers show up, did someone yelling at this referee over here. And it's
gotcha.
just made our life much easier. Last year my wife says, this was the smoothest tournament ever. I said, yeah, because we didn't have to do any of that other the little things. All we had to do was show up and be there. So we'll be around all weekend.
You know what? You do have like the perfect wife. I think about all of the times I've seen both of you at some basketball game, and I'm thinking my wife would never. I mean, my wife's awesome, but my wife would never do that. To have a wife that loves hoops, that's awesome.
She does. I think that's something that together, and I will be honest with you. When Lindsay passed away, it's one of the toughest things for a marriage, and it's very tough because you grieve at different stages.
Yeah.
It's just difficult, and I can't. I'll tear up here, but I can't say enough about my wife because she's been the right. It's been very, very tough. And your only daughter, you lose your only daughter. It's very difficult. But we had two boys that kept us going through all this,
Mm.
and we're very blessed. And another neat thing is this Sunday, my son and daughter-in-law and their two boys, they're to my 5-year-old and my 1-year-old grandson will be coming to the tournament for the first time. So we're looking forward to having them there and really getting to know who their Aunt Lindsay was.
We're talking to Paul Ellis. He's kind of the mayor of Parkway South. I mean, you walk around with Paul, everybody knows him.
Well, not
Everybody.
anymore, man. It's been a while. I'm just getting old now, brother.
I'm telling you, every gym I've ever gone into with you, it's like, oh, the mayor is here. It doesn't matter what tournament, what level, everybody knows Paul Ellis. I'm going to put this up here, Paul. If people want to donate, maybe they can't make it and drop off a few bucks this weekend, but they could be a part. I hope I typed out the words rightly. They want to donate to the Scleroderma Foundation. That's your address. They can mail it to you. They should make the check out to, I thought I typed it in here somewhere I did, but I can't find it now. Scleroderma. That's SCLERM. I can't spell. SCLERODERMA Foundation. And you could send that to care of Paul there at that address. and they'll get the money turned in, and so that they can do research. I think about this. They say it's largely heretical or heretical, her, you get it and you inherit it, and I can't say words, and so really important for us to get the word out, get money into the research part, so that they can treat it. And I know there is some kind of steroidal treatments that they use to help some people, but also look for a cure, man. I think it's so critical. And, I do want to talk a little hoops with you for a minute.
I'm
Paul and I,
always up for that.
Paul and I have done Arch Madness games together. We've done high school games together. We've done NAIA games together, probably Division II games together. I'm doing a Division II game tomorrow. Our old friend John Edwards called me and said, "Hey, could you do a game for me this weekend?" So I'm back in the GLVC tomorrow for the first time at a Coon's age, and so looking forward to that. I don't know how closely you're paying attention to the Indiana State team there in Terre Haute, but they're a fun basketball team to watch. And I know you're a big fan of the Missouri Valley Conference. Just talk a little bit about that.
Well, Harry, it's near and dear. I mean, it's St. Louis Conference. I think anybody that's a fan of basketball in St. Louis has to understand the job that the Missouri Valley does and what they've done over the years. And they'll lose some teams and they just reload, and they've done such an amazing job. And Arch Madness is as good a conference championship as you're ever going to find in college basketball. The atmosphere, the crowds, having it in one place all these years too is very, very special. And you're right, Indiana State, boy, I really like Drake too. I mean, these are really good basketball teams, and I think the Valley could be looking at multiple bids. It's been a while since we've really said, hey, this is the year that could happen.
And then on top of that, Paul, I think it's fun right now that we have another Division I team in the area out at Lindenwood. The Lions aren't having a great year. They weren't they're not as good as they were a year ago. But I really love that there's another Division I program out there, and I'm a fan of the OVC, and it's fun. And it's fun to have them juicing up the area.
And you're right, Harry. It's going to take time there. It's going to take time. I spent most of my coaching career at UMSL, and we saw teams like SEMO and SIU go from Division II to Division I. It's not easy. SEMO dominated Division II, national champions, and they have not had any of that success. I think they've made the tournament maybe once or twice since it. People just don't understand how tough that is. I hope Kyle gets an opportunity over there. I think that's just a tough job. But boy, they've got the facilities in place, and the campus is
great
beautiful.
Gym. It's a beautiful campus.
My son was the student manager there when he did his undergrad there, and so it's a special place, and hopefully they can get things going.
I think the GLVC plays their conference tournament there. I know they're playing St. Charles, and I was assuming Lindenwood. It's a great facility, and you're right. It's just a great looking campus. If you blinked, you wouldn't know you're in the middle of St. Charles or near St. Louis. It's a great place. And then SIUE is on some resurgence under Brian Baroni.
Yeah.
19 wins last year, and they just got win 16 or 17 Thursday night for this year. And they're going to qualify for the OVC tournament for about the third or fourth year in a row. But they're the same thing. They went from Division II to Division I, and it's taken them a minute. But since he's been there, they won 8, 14, 8, 13, 19, and now this year they'll probably top 19 again. And so they're building it there as well. I want to pop this up there. I did have this up, and I lost it. There it is, Scleroderma Foundation. I'm letting people take a look. That's how you spell it. And mail the check to 1300 Big Bend Baldwin 63021. Paul Ellis, you could put on there as well, I guess, his name on the envelope. We want you to get it and be a part of this important tournament this weekend. In between an event I have in the morning and announcing in the afternoon, I'm going to try to swing by sometime tomorrow myself and see you and hug your beautiful wife, because you guys are really special to me. And I appreciate you doing this on short notice. I just wanted to get the word out and try to support just the great things you guys are doing.
Well, I appreciate you, my friend. It's so hard to get the word out, and having people and friends like you out here in this business, that we can just, if we can reach 5 We can reach 20, but whatever. It just brings awareness to this disease. And that's kind of what the whole goal and the purpose of is for the entire weekend.
That's my friend Paul Ellis. He's got a basketball tournament at Parkway South High School. That's in suburban West County, St. Louis. If you're in this region, get by there, drop off, pay a couple bucks to get in, and then, just donate some money. Or you can, we put up the address and all that before. Donate some money to this great cause. Paul Ellis, you are a gem. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
I appreciate you, Harry. Thank you so much for everything.
That's Paul Ellis. You've been watching the Valley Hoops Insider podcast here on valleyhoopsinsider.com. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. We'll see you again real soon.